11th chapter of the book of Genesis, the whole world spoke the same language using the same words. Now, question for you. Imagine, well, if you can you imagine this future where one can travel anywhere you want and understand everyone there? Cross any border freely, experience no more language barriers, go with ease, speak with ease. Doesn't that sound like a future you would want? What would it take, right, for us to be there? How would we get there? Maybe we need one world, one government, one language, no need for passports, right? No more cracked and sullen Duolingo faces, right? Is that the future, right? Well, according to one world religion that was founded 200 years ago in Iran, that is, right? Orwell and a host of dystopian writers also forecast a brave future. One world government, right? One language. Now, those of you, as Mr. Hughes might say with one eyebrow raised, who subtly sip your social studies knowledge by lapping up the currents of, or the foam of current affairs, rather than imbibing the dregs of deep history, might think, yeah, that sounds like something a disgruntled futurist might say. Well, if that's how you learn your social studies, by just reading current affairs, forget all this recent talk about referendums and separation. Today's reading, we're going in the opposite direction, towards unification. And it's this is actually an old vision. It's an ancient ideal that all of humanity could be united with a common language, with one big centralized capital. Welcome. Where we all live with one common purpose and wield great might, civilization might, to shape our future. And the opening lines of Genesis 11 here tell us that the world once did uphold this ideal of one language, one speech. And what's interesting, that a very literal reading of this first line, it says that all the earth was of one lip. Yeah, lip or boundary, language can be translated the same way. So, saying we're all of one lip sounds a little bit odd, but if you purse your lips a little, you do kind of make a boundary, right, at the edge of your face. You could try it now. The camera's not actually looking at you, so yeah, go ahead and try make that boundary if you want.
You got to do it in the camera.
Yeah. Did you see it? Okay. And so people shared a common boundary. So when lips moved, they made sense, as opposed to having to read lips, which Mr. Geiger, in his other professional competencies, is actually an expert at. Hand gestures too, I believe. So we've got, what does this mean again? Okay. We've got one lip, one boundary, one language. And where does this reading take place? I don't know if you caught it. It's in the east, in Shinar. Hebrew is Shinar. The term just means between two rivers. You're probably more familiar with the Greek way of saying between, which is meso, and rivers, Potamia, or Potama. So yes, a land you've studied before. What's it called? Mesopotamia. That's right, the land between, the Tigris and Euphrates. It's in modern day Iraq and area. And Shinar is the low region where the Euphrates begins to meet the Tigris. Now, that geographical detail, it's not a throwaway detail. The Bible tells us as well, it was a low region. So a low region, but also it was in the east. That is to say, east of what? East of Eden, right? It's in the land of exile. So despite the boundaries or limits God placed on humans, there's this attempt to build from the ground up to the heavens and usurp divinity, as it were, and build this counter Eden and anti-garden, if you like. Now, geographically speaking, this transpires in the same place as what will later happen with the Great Exile. In what's that place called again, the exile? Yeah.
Babylon.
Very good. Thank you, Theology 9 student. Yes, and whose name Babylon is associated with chaos or confusion. And as Dr. Fawcett is wont to say, more on this detail later. So what happens here? Well, in this land of chaos, united people, not surprisingly, they come up with a plan. And like, have you ever come up with a plan before? Well, good, okay, good. Like any well-organized plan, this is a three-parter, okay? So first, they say to one another, let's go and build or mold some bricks and bake them. So, fire up those Foxconn factories and mass produce uniform devices that we can hold in our hands and shape our future with. Roger that? Okay, check. And second, and it's the same verb here, they say go to, or it could be translated as come, let's. So go to, let's build a city for ourselves. And not just any old city, but one with a massive tower in its downtown core, reaching the skies up to the heavens. Now, if some of you maybe have never left the hamlet of Campbelltown before, I don't know. Okay, but this might come as a little bit of a shock, but we're talking about a really tall building here. In fact, though, the ancient Israelites wouldn't be entirely unfamiliar with them. And this whole episode of the Tower of Babel as well. Since the Epic of Gilgamesh, which just as it speaks of a flood, it also talks at length about its prime city-building endeavors, replete with mortar and bitumen and brick and so forth. But Genesis is revealing a counter-veiling narrative here, a corrective vision, you might say. So the ancient Israelites probably would have come across these ziggurats before. Have you ever seen ziggurats before? There are at least 25 of them in the ancient world, scattered in this region of the area. Some the ruins from ancient Sumeria, others alive and still functioning, such as in Babylon. And these ziggurats, you probably know, they're Mesopotamia's equivalent of Egypt's pyramids, whereas the pyramids are actually tombs. These are temples. They would have four-sided stairs going up to them. And they could be quite high off the ground, 300 feet or so. But these were shrines, places of worship. And so just to put this in perspective, have you ever stood on top of your house before?
Yeah.
Okay, please don't try this at home, kids. All right, okay. But if you have been on top of your house, it'd be about 25 feet or so off the ground. And with a ziggurat like the one they had in Babel or later in Babylon, you're talking about stacking about a dozen two-story houses on top of each other. That's how high up it would be. It would be a little breezy atop of the ziggurats. And why climb up there?
So you could be closer to God.
Very good. So it wasn't just for the view. In fact, that's where the older word, the Akkadian word for Babel comes from. I mean, words that have El in it usually have to do with Elohim or God. And so Bab is word for gate. And so this is the gate of the gods, Babel, right? The gate of the gods. This is a portal, a threshold between heaven and earth. Now, interesting aside, Babel and Babylon are the exact same word. They're spelled the same way. That word appears 264 times in the Bible. Only twice do the English translators put it as Babel, and that's here as well as in Genesis 10. So when you say Babel, you have to think of the same word, Babylon. And in Hebrew, it's associated with the word confusion, so that's confusing to you. That's good. It's kind of like the word, the names like Seamus, Diego, Kobe, Tiago. They're all variations of the same name. What name is that again? Yeah, Jacob. Yeah, or James. That's another one. They all come from the word Jacob. So Babel, Babylon, same. It's the same term. Okay, so I guess it can be confusing. Have many languages after all. Now, why not just build a one-story shrine? I mean, we could accommodate those who are a little bit afraid of heights, right? Well, this ties into the third part of the plan. Why do they want to do this? Anyone remember? Yes, Libby.
Isn't it like a show of power?
Is it a show of power? Okay, that's an interesting answer. There's more we could say, but yeah, I think you're onto something.
Well, if you're rich, you're able to afford and show off. But if you're like a poor little person, you can make a little pile of dirt.
Oh, look how great our empire is. Look how great our city is. Yes, we have this big building right in the middle. Okay, it's showing off.
I mean, it even happens today with like between Calgary and Edmonton. There's always like who has the taller building?
Oh, right.
And like in the world, that's a big thing. Whoever has the tallest building.
Yeah, I think probably Calgary's would be proud of the Calgary Tower, the CN Tower.
Their towers are way nicer.
Yeah.
That's coming from a flame.
Yeah.
Your hockey arena though?
Yeah.
There's a lot better than us though.
Yeah. And they don't have a puck-shaped building downtown either. Okay, so one is, yes, it's to display power, project power. There's another reason. If you caught it in the reading, there's another reason they want to do this. Yes?
They can reach heaven.
Reach heaven, very good. And yes, they can get to the heavens, good. And notice God has to look down when he's going to go check it out, but yes.
So they can make a name for themselves?
Joshua had read it, yes. Izzy, you're going to say that, right?
Yes.
Yes, good. That's right. They're after making a name for themselves. Okay, now, who in their right minds would want to make a name, or name someone after themselves? And before you start pointing fingers, I only have three of my kids named after myself, which is it's a very small percentage, really. It's only like my first, my latest, and my middle child. Which, as mathematicians here will tell you, that's definitely not a pattern. Nothing here to see. Okay, or how about this? Near where I live, there's this church on top of the hill, and for miles around you can see its spire. It's a St. Vital as a beacon in the skyline. Or in another famous one would be in Cologne, Germany. You have the spires where the relics of the Magi remain. The spires reaching to the heavens. Now, is that the same as this tower here in Babel? Well, in some ways, the Babylonians also have something reaching to the heavens. So some analogy there, but their edifice isn't inscribed with the letters AMDG, which our Latin students could probably translate that. What is that again? To the greater glory of God. Yes. Okay, very good. Yes. So it's for the greater glory of God. That's a difference. Instead, they say, let's make this about ourselves before we're scattered over all the earth. And the joke, of course, is that even though they build it really high, God has to then come down and check it out, investigate what's going on. Now, what more can we say? What did the Babylonians do wrong? What did they get wrong? Well, let's test your memories here a little bit. Let's do a city and technologies quiz. How's that sound to you? All right, so for those of you who are present, an alert in our earlier discussions of Genesis. Who built the first city? And you can consult with a friend if you need to. Who built? Talk to the person beside you. Who built the first city? Do you remember this? Yeah, talk to the person beside you. Yes, yes. Joshua, you can tell me. Okay, yes, yes. Okay.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's Cain.
Okay, and here's another one. What was it called? What was it named? What was it named? Okay, so did anyone come up with an answer? Who built the first city?
The city was called
Okay, anybody out there? Yes, Rex?
Cain.
Cain, very good. And this one you could probably get. What did he call it?
I think I'll like Cain also.
Oh, close, close. You're close. And he almost named it after himself. It wasn't quite after himself. It was. It's actually a name of a place very close to here. Okay. Enoch. That's right, Enoch. And so, do you remember what Enoch means? It means dedication. But so it's like he's dedicating the name. He's naming it after his son. So it's like a name for himself, essentially. Yes. And then he settles in the land of in the east, Nod. Now, what technologies? So this is the technology quiz part. What technologies were first produced by Cain's generation? Do you remember? Do you remember them? Okay, wait, where's up? Go ahead.
Wasn't it blacksmithing? Like
Yes.
making stuff with your hands?
Yes. Okay, good. Go ahead. Yeah, that's all right.
Oh, I was gonna say alcohol, but that was no.
That's a different technology. Yeah. That happens later. Go ahead, Margaret. Weapons. That's right. Bronze, iron.
You got it right.
Right. Oh yeah, Olivia. That's what you're gonna say, right?
Oh no, that's what Izzy said.
Okay.
Said it so perfect.
Killing stuff.
These are interesting. Okay. Yes. And so for killing stuff, sure. So there's nothing wrong with these minerals or bronze and iron and so forth. But these were products were made not for the greater glory of God, but in service of disordered wills, disordered appetites, what St. Augustine will call the libido domini or concupiscence. And there's another thing they invent. Lamech is the one whose name, by the way, is king spelt backwards. So Melech is the word for king. So Lamech is king backwards. So he's one of the first rulers who gets things all backwards. He has power. Do you remember what else Lamech is famous for? It's not quite a technology, but he invents something else.
Was it the guy with 18 wives?
Yeah, bigamy.
Oh my God.
Yeah, bigamy. You got it, Olivia. You got it. Yes. And so this is yes. So polygamy, which again is getting things backwards. This is not according to the plan that God has ordained. Very good. Okay. Now you also may recall in Dr. Fawcett's a very ornate and elucid elaboration on the Table of Nations, there is another founder of cities who happens to come across later. This is in Genesis 10. Does anyone remember who else founds a bunch of cities? Rex.
Is it also in it?
No. Well, this comes later. This is like in Genesis 10. So that's back in Nimrod. Very good. Which yes was only since I think the 1950s with Bugs Bunny became a kind of a slur, a derogatory term if you're a Nimrod. Before it actually means mighty, a mighty warrior. Yes. And in fact, the Septuagint tells us Nimrod was a gigante or a giant. Now, do you remember where the giant showed up before in the Genesis when we've been reading?
Genesis 6.
Genesis 6 with the Nephilim. That's right, the fallen angels, who the offspring of them, who, like Adam and Eve, they look, they take what they see as good, not adhering to their limits, their boundaries, and they attempt to garner immortality in humanity, fostering humanity illicitly. All right. So So that's Nimrod. So he's also the builder of cities. And his name actually means rebel. All right, so you have the story of creation in Genesis 1 and 2. We get these two stories of how the world is made. So here in Genesis 10 as well as 11, we hear twice of how Babel is made, because Nimrod is one of the founders of Babel or Babylon. All right, so where does this leave us on the unification front? Is there anything wrong with cities?
Yes.
For those who live in Campbelltown, all right. You might say, yeah, we don't like the big city. Now, there's nothing wrong with cities. There's nothing wrong with technology, with buildings and advancing our understanding of the world. But what we have here in today's reading is another story of humanity's alliance with the forces of chaos, the forces of darkness, in order to craft things in our fallen pattern. And this is an ancient story, but tragically ever new. As St. Augustine says, any city, any society that doesn't have God at its hub or centrifuge is bound to spiral out of control. So put another way, a source of unity for a polis that is other than God will rely all the more on policy or police or political power. And in turn, this distorts our vision of humanity. Now, it's too bad Andre's not here. But Andre points out to us we have these challenges right now of AI. Right. And does anyone remember one of the challenges Andre brought up in his capstone about AI? I mean, is there anything wrong with having AI?
But sometimes it can be untrustworthy.
You know, it could be, sure. I suppose anything else could be interesting. Yeah, that could be. Yeah, go ahead.
That is just a reflection of our own knowledge.
Well, that's his point. Yes, we should see it as an extension of our knowledge. Yes, so yes, it's a reflection of what we know. Good. But what's the problem most people do?
They idolize it.
They idolize it. They rarefy it. That's right. They turn it into an idol. That's right. And see it not as something that has emanated from us, but as a separate intelligence. And that's a whole baked into the name, artificial intelligence. God rest him, Pope Francis pointed out that we should call it a product of human intelligence, not artificial intelligence, because it's a product that we've made. So the challenge there of AI is to create that into an idol as we go forward. Here's another challenge of the future, of a unification, of making the future in our image, like Cain or like Nimrod. How about in Iceland? We see another example of this distortion, where you have this eradication of Down syndrome. Well, it's nearly complete. They estimate maybe 2 or 3 kids with Downs are born there each year. That's it. And Denmark, Canada aren't that far behind. In Denmark, you have something like 98% eradication of children with Downs. In Iceland, it's even higher. So why eliminate? Right, we have these those children, right, with these chromosomal variants and so forth. Well, that's a future that we see people deciding to make it in their own image, right? And deciding what greatness or what humanness should look like. So, if that is one possible future, what about us? What should our tower look like? What should we strive to build? Right. So, what should our strong tower look like? Just actually asking you.
Not going to be perfect.
Not going to be perfect.
Sorry, it's just not.
Okay. All right. So yeah, it's going to be made out of living stones, maybe. Yeah. Sure. We're not always perfect. Absolutely. What else? What's our strong tower going to look like?
I don't know what it's going to look like, but it should reflect God rather than ourselves.
Very good, Livia. Gold star. Yes, that's exactly it. So our strong tower is God, and it should reflect God. That's right. It is planned for us. So, yes, go and become engineers coders, architects, right? And go do that knowing, right? What's that?
I'm not smart enough.
You're not going to do that? Okay. What are you going to do?
I'm doing philosophy.
To be a philosopher then. Okay. And yes, and do all that knowing that God will work things out in our lives. So individually, Izzy, for you and for everyone else out here, God will work these things out in our lives and for our society as we gather together in history. So as such, what that means is we need not deify our government, deify our state, or our phones, or sorry, I should say bricks, and the low regions of our lives and our society can still be made into high towers by inviting the presence and power of God into our temples to raise us up with Him. And so that our third part of the plan, as opposed to Babylon, which is to systemize efficiencies for the sake of making our name great. So unlike that, let us code, let us draft, let us build without the onus of propagating some misguided future in our own image, but instead let us go forth as children of God, trusting to Him our future, trusting to Him our world and our efforts. And so to that end, let us turn now to Him in prayer.